Can't even say that because I'm so disgusted by Kody's behavior. Just disgusted, disappointed, appalled.
Hello, everyone. Today we're talking about Sister Wives Season 18, Episode 10. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that I'm going to be doing a reread of the Sister Wives book throughout November and some of December. I should have a schedule out by the end of the week. If you don't have the book, of course, you can still come over and listen to my commentary if you would like to. But if you want to read along, you can follow the schedule. Or if you've already read it and you're not interested in rereading it, of course, you can come listen and post comments. I just wanted to let you guys know I was doing it in case you do want to get the book. Okay, so that's all I had to say about that. Let's go ahead and jump into this episode. The beginning of the show starts out focusing on Easter and Resurrection Sunday. We find out that Janelle and Christine are getting together to celebrate Easter and decorate eggs. We also find out that years ago, Cody decided that the family would no longer celebrate Easter and do traditional Easter activities, but would specifically celebrate Resurrection Sunday instead. This is something that actually made Christine really sad, and if you have watched the earlier seasons, you know that Christine really loves to do, to make traditions for her family and celebrate holidays. So this was something that bothered her. Now, they end up doing some confessionals of each wife, and Meri says that she did not grow up celebrating Easter, so when they decided not to celebrate as a family, it wasn't a big deal for her. And we find out a little bit further in the show that it didn't really bother Janelle either. She sided with Cody on it. So this is one of those things that it bothered Christine more than anyone else. But then things changed because you-know-who entered the picture. When Robyn entered the family, she told them that her kids celebrated Easter. So I'm going to put in a clip here of Janelle talking about that.
When Robyn came into the family, all of a sudden she's like, well, my kids celebrate Easter, so I'll just go to my mom's house and celebrate.
Janelle goes on to add that, of course, Cody didn't want Robyn to leave. So this resulted in a compromise, and they ended up doing an Easter-Passover combination. And there ends up being a confessional with Christine where she says that Robyn had a lot of leverage when she entered the family, and that there were a lot of changes when Robyn entered the family, and some of those were really good changes. Christine goes on a little bit further and says that the leverage probably came from the fact that Cody was so in love with Robyn. Christine is really calm when she talks about it, but man, I cannot imagine being in a relationship where I watch my partner fall in love with someone else and I am basically told to overcome my jealousy. I just cannot imagine living like that. When it comes to celebrating Easter, Christine says that a part of the reason she is celebrating Easter is because Cody had always said no, but it's also because she wants to start new traditions for her family as well. Now again, if you think back to those earlier seasons, it's clear that Christine really enjoyed celebrating holidays and making them special for her kids. So to me, it doesn't surprise me at all that this is something she's doing now. We see Christine, Janelle, and some of the kids get together to decorate eggs. And Christine says that when Cody was making the decision about whether or not to celebrate Easter, Janelle actually sided with Cody. But there she is today, decorating eggs with Christine. Now, I don't want to make this a religious video or focus on religion a lot here, but I do think there are things we do for our faith, and there are things we can do that are just traditions that are fun. I mean, you can definitely see that happening a lot at Christmas. There are a lot of things we do at Christmas time that are, we create symbols, but they're not rooted actually in something in the Bible. We just have made them symbolic of our holiday. I think you can make something like decorating eggs symbolic if you want to, or just say that it is a lot of fun and go on with it. I don't really understand why Cody couldn't have made that compromise for Christine, because then we know he turns around and he starts to compromise for Robyn. I think right there you can see there's a little issue with how Christine might have felt about the Easter holiday. There ends up being a confessional where Cody talks about the family and where they are right now. Cody says he thinks he can actually get most of the family back together and they can all, be back to where they were before. And all I kept thinking was, the denial is strong here. Christine's left. He doesn't really want a marriage with Meri unless Unless just having her around for the holidays counts as working for him. I guess that maybe to him it's functional enough that she's still there and present. He does have Robyn, of course, but Janelle is on the fence. She's almost on her way out at this point, and he still thinks he can get most of them together. I'm just like, dude, are you clueless? Like, are you really not seeing what's happening? I just don't think he realizes how much damage he actually did with Janelle and the boys. I do want to put in a clip where he talks about where he is with Robyn right now.
I have a life with Robyn and her children. And right now, that's really... I'm okay with that.
He goes on to say he's okay with it, even though he hopes that they can fix things and move forward. But I'm going to be honest with you, I think he's more than okay with it. To a certain extent, I think Kody is content. And I think if the kids weren't going public and they didn't have this show where all of this was being shared publicly, I think he would be okay with just not being there as a dad, just ignoring the adult children and not being there for his wives. I think the issue is Kody's conflicted because all of this is happening publicly and it doesn't make him look very good. The show flips back to Janelle and Christine, and Janelle says that it's important to continue on traditions that have meaning for their part of the family, and that this gives them an identity together. And I think it's so great that they realize that now, and they're starting it sort of from the beginning, even before Janelle has left, because it would be really easy for all these kids to sort of grow apart. I mean, it happens even in families where they're not polygamous. You can have a mom and dad or any monogamous couple, and then their kids just slowly grow apart as they move away and have their own children. If you don't try to come back together for something, you won't. So I think it's really good that Janelle and Christine are deciding to do this. So Janelle, though, she has said she wants them to have an identity, and Kody has a response to this during one of his confessionals.
An identity without their dad. This is exactly what Christine and Janelle's plan is, to separate me from my children so they can have them all to themselves.
Yes, that was their master plan the whole time, to get the kids away from you, Kody. It's so insane. It doesn't surprise me at all to hear him say this. He never sees himself as the problem. He genuinely thinks that Christine and Janelle are separating him from the kids. He doesn't realize that he has separated himself from the kids. He blames Christine and Janelle when he's the one who didn't go to surgeries. He didn't call on birthdays or holidays. He would go weeks without seeing his kids. Yet to Kody, it's Christine and Janelle that are separating him from his children. We end up seeing Janelle and Christine hide eggs for all of their kids that are there, the little children, the teens, and the adults, and it looks like they just had a great time together. Christine says that the holidays were always really hard when they were in Flagstaff because there was a lot of tension, but this holiday is nice because they're just there enjoying each other's company. After this, we get a confessional with Robyn. She says that every time she starts to plan a holiday, she goes through a period of mourning. She wishes that she could still have holidays together with the whole family. But then the show goes over to Meri, who does a confessional, and she talks about how she spent her Easter.
This year for Easter, it was just a regular Sunday for me. I just stayed home, and Kody and Robyn didn't invite me over for anything.
I just love how they are editing this season. We have what is being said and then what is really happening. You know, Robyn is mourning about the holidays, yet she doesn't pick up the phone and call Meri. But I do have a question for you guys. How do you think those conversations go down? When there's a holiday coming up, do you think Robyn goes to Kody and is like, hey, we should call Meri. She would love to see the kids. And then Kody says, no, don't call her. We want her to know she's not a part of the family. Do you think they even have a conversation about Meri? Maybe she's not brought up at all. Or do you think Robyn secretly just prefers leaving Meri out? I have to tell you, I'm at a place where I think Robyn wants to include Meri, but I think it's Kody. I think he's like, no, I just don't want Meri around. I just don't care about Meri being here. I don't like her being over at the holidays. That is my theory. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments. But I have to tell you, I just love that they threw in the clip of Meri right after Robyn talking about how hard the holidays are for her. The show switches back over to Janelle, who's doing a confessional. She says that she doesn't really miss Kody at all. She's also not missing Robyn or Meri. and that this is the most peace that she has felt in a long time. The show moves to Utah, where Meri is back at the B&B with her friend Jen. They show us that they have emptied out the carriage house. And, when you're watching Meri with Jen, she seems so happy and so comfortable. And we just don't see that when she's with the other people in the family. And Meri says that at different points she had friendships with both Robyn and Christine, but she points out that when it comes to Robyn, the friendship is serious, and that's because everything that happens in the family is serious. So it's not a fun, light friendship. So this is different from what she has had with either Robyn and Christine. This is something that's enjoyable. This friendship actually makes her happy. Now there ends up being a confessional with Cody and with Robyn. Cody says that he doesn't really know what to do with Meri and their marriage. He says that marriage is supposed to be eternal, but there just isn't any fire there in the marriage with Meri anymore, so he doesn't know what to do. And then Robyn says this.
And he can get through all of his anger and his emotions about everything, that they will have a chance to work it out.
So what you're hearing there is Robyn basically saying if Meri just sticks it out, if she stays until he works out things with Janelle, until he gets past his anger from the stuff with Christine, then he will work on the stuff with Meri. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Is Robyn really this clueless, or is she just faking being this clueless? Because he is not wanting to work things out with Meri. He's now saying on the show, Robyn keeps saying it and I don't want to do it. Like, he's just calling her out at this point. Like, she's wanting something I don't want to do. He is not going to work on things with Meri. The Meri stuff goes back even before Isabel's surgery. It goes back way before that. He had opportunities. There were times he could work on things with Meri. It all started before COVID. There was so much time he could have worked on things with Meri. And, we saw some effort there. They went to the therapist and, that kind of stuff. But he's just done now. Robyn, quit saying she needs to stick it out. There's a part where Christine says Cody will string people along. I don't even think he's stringing Meri along at this point. Meri's stringing herself along. Cody's not doing it. At this point, it's Robyn. Robyn is stringing Meri along, and she needs to stop. She needs to look at Meri and say, hey, you know what? Do whatever. I'm not even going to say that Cody's going to work on this because I don't know that he is. Meri even sees it. It's just the weirdest situation to me. I can't wrap my head around it. But there you go. Again, Robyn saying if she sticks it out, it will get better. Let's just be honest, you guys. It's not. We know it's not going to happen. So Meri is there in Utah, and she says during a confessional that Jen's husband is amazing. And she talked about this in the last episode as well. I think she is there and she's seeing Jen and her husband, and Meri is just realizing everything that she doesn't have in her marriage. And at some point, I think this is going to help her feel comfortable with leaving. I think she's going to look at these two and go, I could have a partner like that, and I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't think she's ready now, but I do think this is going to help her. Meri says at this point she is happy with the idea of spending more time in Utah and not doing as much in Flagstaff. She doesn't want to be traveling as much as she used to. But Meri does say that she wishes Cody had reacted differently when she told him about her plans of moving the business to Utah. You remember that Robyn was there and Cody in the kitchen, and she told him, and he wasn't emotional at all about it. He was like, hey, that sounds like a good idea. So Meri wishes he had responded differently. And this is what Meri has to say about it.
He just went through one divorce. Is he concerned about another one?
I think Cody is concerned about another divorce if it's Robyn or Janelle, but I don't think he's worried at all about Meri leaving. I don't think he cares. I think he quit caring so long ago that he just doesn't worry about Meri going at all. He's done, and he's been done. He's just waiting for her to leave. So there ends up being a confessional with Cody where he says a lot, but because of copyright reasons, I can't put in the whole clip, so I'm going to share some of it on my own and then throw in a clip from the show. Cody says that most of his life is centered on Robyn's house and the family in Robyn's house, and that Robyn is really the one that's encouraging him to work things out with Janelle and Meri and the kids. So based on what Kody said there, it's not him that's really wanting to do it. It's Robyn that is wanting him to work things out. You know, honestly, it just sounds like Kody is over polygamy. I don't think he wants to do it anymore. But Robyn has been clear about the fact that that is something she wanted. She wanted sister wives. She wanted to be in a plural marriage. So it seems like Robyn's wanting it, but Kody's not sure anymore. So I'm going to put in the clip here of Kody talking about Robyn and the other wives.
So it's been weird because I'm married to the love of my life. I've got these other situations that...
Yes, you heard that correctly. He called Robyn the love of his life, and the other wives are all situations. You know, I think Kody is being more and more honest about how he feels, and I think we're just seeing it so much this season. He loves Robyn. That is the center of his world. He doesn't care to work things out with Meri. He's actually gotten to a point where even though he's angry with Christine, I don't think he really cared to have Christine as a wife. And to me, it seems like he's trying to reconcile with Janelle, but not to have her as a wife and him be a husband. I think they were really more like friends, and he just wants to get back to that place and have her be okay with it and have her say that is enough. And I just don't think Janelle's going to do that. And so I think for Kody, it's actually a little bit confusing because he's like, hey, it worked for so long. Why is it not working now? But Janelle said it, you know, things have changed. I've changed and I want more. But I think Kody just wants them to go back to the way they were. And that is her sort of being a wife that is more like a friend for him. I will say this episode has changed a little bit about, you know, a little bit of my thinking about Robyn, because I really used to be like, okay, I think Robyn wants to monopolize all of his time. She is the one behind this. But there's a part of me when I'm watching this and hearing Kody say, I don't even know if I want to work on things with these people. And then he says, Robyn just keeps telling me to do that. It sort of does feel like there may be some truth to it. The only thing that makes me question it is, you know, the fact that this is on TV. Are they deliberately pushing this narrative, even if there's no truth behind it? Are they like pushing it toward that direction where we shift the blame over to Kody and less on Robyn? And that's the way it is? Or are they just wanting us to believe that so we're all not continuing to hate on Robyn? I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Is this real or not? There's a part of me that thinks it is, because I do think Robyn enjoyed polygamy. I think she liked feeling like the queen bee. I think she liked being the queen bee and keeping some other wives around. She felt like she was the person she said she was in the beginning of the show, but she was monopolizing Kody's time and the other wives were just hanging on. You know, she's the queen bee and they're the worker bees. But then another part of me is like, you know, maybe, I don't know. Like this episode has put me somewhere in a state of confusion about Kody and Robyn. But I don't know that Kody wants to work on things with Janelle and make it an actual marriage. Kody goes on and says Janelle doesn't want to reconcile, but he thinks it's possible that they could. However, in order for that to happen, Janelle and Christine would need to go their separate ways. He says that Janelle allows Christine to have a lot of influence over her life, and he actually says that it's pathetic. But he doesn't tell that to Janelle because he's worried that will get back to the kids and Christine. The show switches over to Christine, and we find out that it's been a little while since Easter, and she hasn't actually seen Janelle or the kids since that time. Those are her words. So what I'm hoping is maybe the show is jumping forward a lot, and soon we won't be so far behind, because at the beginning of this episode is Easter, and now we're toward the second half, and she's saying it's been a while since Easter. Maybe at some point this show won't be so far behind. But Christine is heading back to Flagstaff now. She is going to get a short-term rental and host a dinner with Janelle and some of the kids. This includes Gabe and Garrison. They are both there. And while they're talking, Christine brings up Thanksgiving. And even though Thanksgiving is kind of a ways away, she wants to discuss it and see what their plans are. And Gabe and Garrison, specifically Garrison, makes it clear he just wants to go to Utah. He wants to spend the holidays with Christine. Now, during this time, there ends up being confessionals with Kody and then with Christine and Janelle, of course, all separate. But Janelle says that she doesn't think she's going to spend holidays with Kody ever again. And to me, that just makes it perfectly clear that this marriage is over. Now, Janelle says she can't technically say she's divorced from Kody because in their faith, they have to go through steps and be released. But like, it sounds like it's over to me. When you say I'm not spending a holiday with my husband or wife ever again, to me, it just sounds like it's really over. Now, during this time, there is a confessional where Christine talks about how much Garrison is hurting. And when they're sitting at the dinner table, he is the one that's the most outspoken about going to Utah. He's not going over to Robyn's. He said that in the last episode. He has no interest in going over there. But during this point, there is a confessional with Kody where he talks about what happened in his relationship with Gabe and Garrison.
I did nothing to Gabriel and Garrison but try to make them accountable. Accountability is something that Janelle and Christine do not know anything about.
It's funny hearing Kody say that, you know, the boys needed to be held accountable and Christine and Janelle don't understand accountability when Kody never sees himself being the problem. He never sees himself doing anything wrong, so he never holds himself accountable. I'm just like, dude, you are clueless. You are so much a part of the problem and you don't see it. There ends up being a part where they're sitting there at the table and Garrison says that he wanted to offer his house as a common ground for the family. It could be somewhere that Kody could go to spend time with the kids away from Robyn's house where there's all of the tension with the kids and the wives. But Garrison said Kody shot the idea down. Janelle says that Kody would never go along with this idea because his response would be that he has his own house and they all need to come over to his house. And this is something that we've heard Kody say before on the show when he's talking about them in the holidays. And he ends up saying it during this episode as well.
Absolutely. I have a house. They can come to my house. I got real loyalty here at my home. You guys can come over here.
Here we are seeing Garrison be more mature than Kody, and he's actually giving his dad a way to spend time with the kids in a place they would all be comfortable going, and Kody still will not do it. And what's funny to me is Kody actually says he has loyalty at that house, so they should all come there. That's the exact reason they're not comfortable going there. Why would they want to go there where there's Robyn, who they feel like has manipulated their dad, and then all the kids that do everything he says, and all the kids he prefers to spend time with live there? Why would they feel comfortable there? Garrison gave them a spot that they don't have bad feelings about, where they can all go and there won't be as much tension. And Kody won't even go there. It's craziness to me. So here we have Garrison offering this place that they can go, and Kody still won't do it. And I just want to say something else here. What kind of parent never goes over to the house that their kids have bought or the apartment that their kids have rented? It would be one thing if it was super far away, but it's right there. Kody could just take the drive over to Garrison's house and see it. But as far as we have seen on the show, Kody has not done that yet. It's just not happening. From my perspective, like, how cool is it that they have a son, a young adult, who's saying, hey, let me host. Like, I'll host the dinner. I'll host the family event. A lot of young people wouldn't want that responsibility of hosting or wouldn't want to do that. And here they have a son who's willing to do it to help his family out, and Kody still won't do it. After this, we go over to Meri's house in Flagstaff. Robyn is visiting with Ari, Saul, and Aurora. Meri says that even though things aren't good with Kody, this is what she's there for. This is what keeps her hanging on. It's the relationship she has with Robyn and the kids. My thing is Meri and Robyn are both very open about how little time they actually see each other. So I don't understand why that keeps her hanging on. It seems to me that even if she said she left Kody, like Meri, if Meri said, I've divorced Kody, she could maintain this friendship with Robyn. I think Kody cares so little about Meri, he's not going to be upset if Robyn and Meri maintain a friendship. I actually think if Meri just said, Kody, we're divorcing, and then didn't ever call him again, it could be the same relationship they have now. Random holiday visits and a random visit here and there to each other's homes, and that would be the end of it. I don't think anything would change. But according to Meri, this is what keeps her hanging on. After this, we move over to Christine and Janelle. They get together, and they are just getting together to have a chat without the kids there. Christine asks Janelle if she's seen Kody recently, and Janelle shares that she hasn't. They went out on the date, he dropped her off back at home, and then she hasn't seen him. So Christine says, hey, was it any different when you were living out there in Coyote Pass? And Janelle says, yeah, when she was living in the RV, he would come over more frequently, but he still would show up later in the evening and leave early in the morning. He said that he needed to get back to Robyn so he could help get the kids ready for school. I don't think it was surprising that Kody used that excuse. We've seen that Kody wants to be back at Robyn's house, but I think it's still hard for Janelle and Christine because they didn't get that sort of attention from Kody, and neither did their own kids. So they're watching Kody be this great dad to Robyn's kids when he wasn't a great dad to their own. You know, and it's also a situation where really Saul and Ari are getting older. They don't need a lot of attention when they're getting ready in the morning. They might need help, but helping your kids, you know, waking them up, making sure the breakfast food is ready and down is way different from actually feeding little babies, clothing them, changing diapers. You don't really require two people as your kids get more independent. So while it's nice that he's there and he wants to help, it's not really an excuse when it comes to not being there for Janelle and Savannah. This leads to Janelle, Christine, and Kody all having confessionals where they talk about this issue. You know, this issue of Kody leaving to go over to Robyn's. And I wish I could put them all in because there was just so much here. But I can't, so I'm going to put in one and I'm going to tell you what the other one said. Christine says that she never remembers having that type of help from Kody. She has no memory of Kody ever leaving Robyn's house to come over to her house to help get the kids ready for school. And Janelle then gets straight to it and says when her kids were little, Logan was the one getting the kids ready for school, and most mornings she didn't even know where Kody was. And then finally we get to Kody, and he explains why he is going over to Robyn's. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, it was upsetting. Like, watching it was upsetting. I cannot imagine being one of his kids and hearing him say this next part. I'm going to go ahead and put the clip in, but you guys have to let me know what you think, because I cannot be the only one that was at home, like, shaking my head. He is absolutely unbelievable. Here it is.
I was actually taking Ariella and Solomon to school because I liked it. We were just working so hard to make ends meet before.
He goes on to say that he's getting a second chance and he's getting to do this with Ari and Saul. He's getting to do this with them because all of the other kids who never got that from him have grown up. And now he's able to give all of the attention to just two kids. I just thought this was an incredibly insensitive thing to say. And to know that his kids, his older kids, will hear. Specifically how he started it by saying, I like it. You know, as if he wouldn't have liked taking the other kids. He continues on and he says that Robyn never asked him to do it. This was not something Robyn is asking him to do. He is choosing to do it because he likes it. There's just, I don't know. It was such an insensitive thing to say. You know, maybe that's something he could have just kept inside of himself and never let out into the world. I wish he would do more of that because I do think stuff like this is just going to hurt the other kids. There ends up being a confessional where Robyn says she has pointed out to Kody that this will cause problems. And you know, I said it earlier, this episode really changed the way I felt about Kody and Robyn because now I don't know like who is doing what. I will tell you this, I think Kody is very insensitive. I think it's possible Robyn was able to see that this was a problem. I just don't know. I don't know what I think anymore. And I can't understand how Kody, who has been a polygamist for this long, didn't think that this would cause a problem. And then I'm just sad for the kids. I wish he didn't say any of this. I just wish he didn't say any of it. And here's my thing. These kids are going to watch this and see how he ruined his marriages with their other moms to just pursue good relationships with Robyn and her children. He has ruined so many relationships with his kids by purely focusing on Robyn's household and not giving them the time they deserve. You know, he wanted to go and drive Ari and Saul to school every morning, yet his daughter, who needed a serious surgery, he couldn't take the time to go be with her. And she's going to see this. And what about Truly? Did he ever think, hey, I'm going to leave early and go drive Truly to school? According to Christine, that never happened. So it's just Robyn and the kids. And you know what? I think if Kody was asked, he's going to say it's not a problem because it was Robyn and she was loyal. So basically, when he's mad at a wife or he sees a wife being disloyal, he's mad at the kids, and then the kids aren't treated well. This is the part of Kody that's awful. This is the part, if there's ever a time I start to feel a little empathy toward Kody, you know what? He can ruin that for himself. He just has a way of being so insensitive and so mean. Kody continues on and he talks about what it is to be a good sister wife, and his definition has changed now. Remember a few seasons ago, he was saying it had to do with like how they treated each other and how Christine wasn't a good sister wife because she wasn't always nice to Robyn. That was the definition back then, but now it has changed. A good sister wife is someone who doesn't take the kids away from the father. So you know what? This definition is just going to change to whatever he can say to make Christine look bad. I don't know if that makes sense. I just think this is a definition that's always going to change to whatever Kody wants it to be. So now it is the kids being taken away. And what Kody doesn't realize is that these kids are adults. Christine would have not been able to have taken them away unless the relationship was already bad. Look at Mykelti. Mykelti is close to Robyn and Kody. She chooses that. Christine can't make her not be close to them. She does it because that's what she wants. The kids have moved away from Kody and are not having a relationship with them because he wasn't having a relationship with them to begin with, and because he's not a very good dad. Christine did not make that happen. He did it all on his own. Now, at this point, the show goes back to Christine and Janelle. They're talking about the date with Kody, and, you know, Christine sort of points out that after the date, he goes back to Robyn's house. Now, you can tell Christine would have a problem with this, but Janelle doesn't. Janelle doesn't care that Kody goes home. And this is something we've all seen with Janelle in the past. She's very independent, and she's sort of used to this relationship with Kody, so she doesn't care that he is dropping her off back at home. Now, earlier in the episode, there's a part of this where Christine talks about how she has to talk to Janelle when it comes to them talking about Kody. She has to be very careful because Christine says if she pushes too much, you know, Janelle will really shut down. And that is sort of what happens here. Christine is asking about Kody and her feelings about what happened, and Janelle's feelings are different. So listen to what listen to what Janelle says about this during a confessional.
And it's just wild to me that I keep getting this vibe from Christine that, oh, you deserve more. I'm like, yes, of course I do. And I'm taking it for myself. I'm doing more.
They're in a really unusual spot, you know, being an ex-wife and then a current wife who's separated and they're talking to each other. I think they're in a really unusual spot and they're going to have to be careful. But you know what? I think they're going to be fine. I just think they'll have to be sensitive with how they talk. After this, we move over to Meri's house where Robyn is still visiting with the kids. We find out that Aurora is talking to a boy at school and, you know, Robyn and Meri sort of tease her about it. They talk about how they got married really young. And, you know, here they are watching Aurora, who's the same age they were when they were already married. Meri says she never regretted marrying Kody, but she does wish she had more time to figure out who she was before she got married. As Meri and Robyn are talking, Meri shares that she signed another lease to stay in that same house there in Flagstaff. And if you guys have ever seen pictures of it, you know, it's really pretty big. And she implied in the last episode she was going to move to a smaller house because if the business isn't there and she's not there that often, you know, why does she need this big house? And I was surprised to hear her say she wasn't moving. But there was a part of me that thought, you know what, if she moves somewhere smaller and the rent isn't as much, does that money end up going and being split into like the family money? Because if that's the case, then go ahead and keep the bigger house. Like, I don't think she should have to give her money to Kody and Robyn. You know, I don't know. It all depends on the financing. But she is going to stay there. And you know what? It's probably nice if she has a place that's sort of secluded, since they do film there occasionally. Maybe she's hesitant to try to find some new place where they're going to be okay with the filming of the show. But she's staying there. Now, next there ends up being a confessional with Kody. And he says that Meri has very little to do with him, with Robyn, and with their kids. And I have to tell you something, as much as Kody annoys me, there's a part of me that appreciates that at least he is being honest in this part, because I don't think Robyn has that sort of honesty in her on the show. She acts like her relationship with Meri, you know, she'll mention sometimes that she hasn't seen her, but she never just says, Meri's really not a part of my life. Where Kody will just come out right and tell the truth. Meri doesn't play a role in their lives. So I'm going to throw in a clip here of Kody talking about how he feels about Meri staying.
And she keeps reassuring me this is not her moving on, but I keep thinking she should move on.
I'm at a point where maybe I shouldn't put in more clips of Kody talking about wanting Meri to go, because I think at this point we all have heard it enough, right? It's perfectly clear how Kody feels. He is ready for her to move on. Now, at this point, the show goes back over to Meri and Robyn. The visit between Robyn and the kids and Meri is coming to an end. They're about to leave. And there's a confessional where Meri says this is what she cares about. When she signed up for polygamy, this is what she signed up for. She wanted these sort of relationships with her sister wives. And at this point, the show flips back over to Christine and Janelle. And Christine is talking about how she didn't think Kody was heartbroken when she was leaving. She just thought he was angry. Janelle says that she thought there would be a lot of drama, but it's all very amiable. And it's funny because then during a confessional, Christine's like, amiable? Really? I saw the fight. But I think for the most part, Kody and Janelle just don't talk that much. So it does probably feel like everything is going really smoothly for them. We also find out during this conversation that Janelle would do plural marriage again. That is something that has been discussed before in the show. There is a part of this where Christine says that she wouldn't do it because of all of the heartbreak that it would cause. Like, if she found the love of her life and he already had wives, she wouldn't want to put them through the heartbreak. And I think Christine feels this way because of how hurt she was when Robyn entered the family. I think Janelle had already experienced this before. You know, she had seen Christine enter the family. She was the second wife. So I think the experience was just different for her. Christine also points out that Kody is now living as a monogamist, and Janelle agrees with her. Christine says that this is the first time that Janelle has ever agreed about Kody being a monogamist. And this is what Janelle says during a confessional.
Family. If I cared, it would bother me, but I don't care. I really don't. They can have each other.
It's sort of funny because when you're watching this, you can see that Janelle is done with Kody, yet Kody is done with Meri. So Janelle is at the place that Kody is with Meri. There is a part of this where Christine talks about Kody and Robyn, and Christine says that Robyn has an amazing husband. The husband that Robyn has is what she wished Kody could have been to her. But when you're watching it, it's hard for her to say it. And she says that now she is disgusted and appalled by the way that Kody behaves. Now, there's another part of this where Janelle says that she would stay with Kody if he could actually be a good partner to her. But in the confessional, Christine points out that Kody would never stop being Robyn's husband to be Janelle's husband. And during this part, there's also a confessional with Kody, and Kody says he cannot understand why Janelle doesn't want to be with him now. He says that Janelle was with him when he was married to Meri. Janelle was with him when he brought Christine into the marriage. Kody doesn't understand what the problem is now that he's with Robyn, and I'm going to tell you what I think the issue is. It's different. He has a fantastic relationship with Robyn, and then he's pretty much non-existent as a husband to Janelle. The way he is with Robyn looks completely different than the way he was with Meri and Christine. You know, comparing Robyn's relationship with Kody and then comparing Meri and Christine's, you know, it's apples and oranges. It's actually rotten apples to an orange. Like, Kody is so much better to Robyn than he is To them, it's night and day. So then, of course, it feels different to Janelle. It's going to make Janelle's relationship look different with Kody. So we're at the end of the show, and there's this part where Janelle says something about Kody that I wanted to put in here, but if I cut it up, it really wouldn't make a lot of sense, and I couldn't put the whole thing in here, so I'm just going to read it to you. This is what Janelle says about Kody. I just think Kody is who he is. I think he's maybe been this guy for a few years, and he was just kind of waiting for everyone to fall off or get away or go away, or for everything to break down, unless it could be lived the way that he wanted everything to be lived. He's not pining away for the family that he lost, except for when his ego is involved and it makes him look bad that his family is no longer intact. I think she nailed it. I think the only time Kody gets upset about his family falling apart really is when it makes him look bad. When it bruises Kody's ego, he has a problem with his family falling apart. But otherwise, I think he really just wants to be with Robyn. And he wants to be with someone who does everything he says and he views as loyal. Even if the rest of us don't view it that way, that's what Kody thinks, and everyone else can go away. He only cares because we're all watching it and we're seeing him in a way that he doesn't like to be seen. But that is where this episode ends, guys. This is probably the longest recap I've ever done. I know when I used to first make them, sometimes they would be really long, but if you stuck with me till the end, thank you. Go ahead and leave all of your comments. I love to read them. If you haven't already and you would like to, click like and subscribe. And thank you for listening. And I hope you'll come back to Happily Ever Reality.